Welcome back to the Mega Man 11 80% tutorial series. Today we're going on to the Wily stages, and first up is Gear Fortress 1. This is one of the more fun stages to practice. It's very satisfying, it's incredibly technical. You have to swap between a variety of weapons in a short span of time, so it really feels like you're that bulky and powerful Mega Man finally, where you just destroy everything in your way. That said, you're still going to be moving very quickly despite how much of an arsenal you're carrying. Your weapon ammo is fairly tightly routed as far as impact and rush goes. Since the majority of our impact is going to be used flying over these very long sections with not a lot of useful platforms to slide across, it's important to know exactly how much you're going to be using in which specific spots beforehand. Now, I compared my time against top runners, and this isn't a stage where you can get a lot of lucky drops, so it's not like that's what's going to make the difference between the best time and your time. If you take my run and you compare it to someone like Fastatcc, if you take a look at our rooms back and forth, you'll see that he's a lot closer to basically living life on the edge. Like, anytime you have downtime where you're just jumping instead of sliding or using impacts, he's cutting down on that as much as possible. Like, he drops down into this next room at the 1 minute mark, and I was there at 1:03, so he found 3 seconds of extra clean movement that I wasn't willing to give up, personally. But as I go back and practice the game, you know, those are things that I'm going to be looking at. You know, I really want to save that time. That's where I'm going to dedicate my efforts to. Once you can beat a stage without dying, and then the concern isn't about survival, it's more about, where can I cut it even closer to bridge these two platforms? Where am I going to scrape any amount of time that I can out of this stage? Now, once you know how to get through this level comfortably, and you have an ammo amount that you know you can kill Yellow Devil with, you have a health amount that you know you can play around with in the fight, that's when you can start looking at other areas to improve upon. The Yellow Devil fight is not to be taken lightly. One of the saddest mistakes I made actually cost me the run on the Yellow Devil. I accidentally threw one of the blast bombs the wrong way. So simple mistakes like that are what you're trying to be aware of whenever you play any of these stages, just so that you can prevent them from happening when you're least expecting them to. Beginning of the stage is pretty intense. There are lots of moments when I do preemptive weapon swapping, so I don't have to worry about it when it's needed. Have impact on, power gear as I slide, then power gear through this show and switch to torch. Throughout this room I'm trying to conserve my power gear ammo so it doesn't burn out on me. With power torch on, as I jump off this ledge, this particular powered torch will hit the Mawaru and the Mentor coming up. While falling, switch to block, then turn power gear back on as I jump so that I can take out the traffic cone. During these jumps, I swap back over to torch, and as I slide off this platform, I'll fire one, then swap back to block, turn power gear on, and fire a set. Without that torch, those blocks would be a little bit further to the right in order to destroy that mech. Let's look at this room again at full speed. Start your run with impact, turn power gear on as you slide, power through Joe, swap to torch, power torch off this ledge, then block, power block as you jump, then regular torch, power block, slide. For the sake of comparison, I'm going to bring up what Fastatcc has done for this room. It's very similar, but you'll notice some differences in where he fires his torches and what he decides to do with block at the end of the room. As long as you enter the next room with power and block equipped, you can fire a powered block and slide cancel it. That particular spot takes out both the Mawaru and Airstone pretty easily, and then as you jump, fire another powered block. Use rush jets when you can, because you'll barely have the amount of ammo you need for the entire stage. A lot of what you see is what you get. Sections that I breeze over are pretty obvious on what you have to do. Now, in this room, you'll be wanting to get as much ground sliding as you can on these gears, but it's also very high risk. And then as you jump from here, you don't have to jump too high, but you'll want to make sure that you jump high enough so that you land on this platform. I tend to turn my power gear off for the last one just to guarantee that I actually grab this power up, but if you're confident, then you can actually leave power gear on and grab it instead of having to land on that platform and slide off. This room depletes you on impact ammo and then gives you that one big pickup, plus these two guys, so you always have the same amount of ammo if you've done these rooms correctly. Now this is another section where I could have improved on, but this is where I have to do a very complex maneuver. I turn power gear on preemptively to give my hands one less thing to think about. And this motion is a max jump jet into a jump into impact. You can see I have to use my left hand's thumb in order to swap over to impact to get the height I need to make it over that ledge. In the next room, get as high of a jump as you can as you summon Rush, just so you don't have to ride him as long. When I land on this gear, I fire a buster before I jump over. Swap to torch and fire immediately, slide, and then fire again. Swap to impact, turn on power gear, and make sure you jump far enough so that when you start doing power impacts, you'll make it onto this ledge. I like to leave power gear on for a little while because the next room is pretty complicated. Jump, max height impact gets onto the second rusty gear. Jump, call for rush, then off of rush, you're doing another impact. You can see I use my left thumb again. And then power gear comes on and off for each one of these impacts. Keep an eye on that airstone. If you move quickly enough, you'll be able to beat it. So it's power impact, regular impact. Grab your ammo and repeat. Jump, power impact, regular impact. And you'll see that stone is going to catch up to me here, and I'll barely be able to land and jump before it would get me. For these last two impacts, I'll be doing 2 power impacts, and you'll want to wait till you fall a little bit lower on the last one so that you don't bonk into the wall on the next screen. So once again, at full speed, jump, power impact, call rush, power impact, jump, power impact, regular impact, jump, power impact, regular impact, jump, power impact, power impact. If you can clean that last room up, then as you enter the spike room, around the 1 minute mark is your goal. You could use fuse for safety's sake, but it's not necessary if you want to slow your descent some. After you jump over the floor chaser, jump up and then summon rush. You'll need to ride him upwards for just a little bit. Then for this last section, so long as you throw in 1 regular impact somewhere, make sure you jump nice and deep, then do all the remaining impacts with power impact. Should get you over the entirety of the room, and if you don't jump deep enough, just look at how close I'm going to be to this pit. It's not going to be much leeway there. Now in this last room, we're going to be climbing up the left side, so jump, call rush, and jump to the first rusty gear. From the second rusty gear, we'll be jumping over to the 5th one with rush, and then we'll be jumping off that 5th one up to the ladder with our last rush. You have room for roughly 2 mistakes with rush ammo throughout the stage. As you climb the ladder, swap over to blast, jump with power gear, and destroy the mech. And you could use Tundra to kill the mech if you wanted to, because we literally have just enough ammo with Chain Blast to do this fight. We'll have maybe 1 or 2 extra Chain Blasts afterwards, but that's it really. First part of the fight is basically all memorization. You'll have to jump over 3 of these Yellow Devil gels. After your 3rd jump with one that's roughly eye level, this one right here, the next one will be on the floor, and you'll have to slide under another one that's about eye level. You'll have 1 more you need to jump over, and then the next time you see one on the floor, that's going to be the last one. Jump and make sure you're facing the right as you fire 4 Chain Blasts towards Yellow Devil. As you fire the last one and land, jump and detonate. From here, you can just start inching closer and closer towards his foot. You'll be needing to do a damage boost at basically the last moment. When his foot is about to rise is when you take damage. Slide to the wall and jump to do your Chain Blast. Slightly delay it so that you're actually hit out of the animation of the second launch. Rapid fire 2 more and then start moving left with power gear active. Waiting on his iframes, jump and fire power Chain Blast. Start moving left after you take damage and fire and detonate another power Chain Blast. This fight is not to be taken lightly, so make sure you practice it, because if you screw up this kill, finishing the job afterwards is just awful. Get in position about the middle of the room, jump, 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 and then get ready, jump, slide, 1 more jump, and then jump, 1, 2, 3, 4, detonate, move in close, wait for his foot, jump, take damage, move in, 1, 2, damage, 3, 4, power gear on, jump, detonate, detonate. Thank you for watching. I really recommend you practice this stage a bunch, and I will see you next time with Gear Fortress 2.